So in this section, we're going to be talking about the for loop. So for loop enable us to iterate through a collection. So a collection is definitely something that contains multiple values in it. For example, let's say, for example, we talked about the sequence types. So it's a collection. Even the string, you could use the for loop, for example, to loop through the elements of a string. So for example, we could say for, let's say, I in this. So you're seeing what's happening here. So this is a collection. So we could actually, when we execute this, look at what we get. We actually get 5. So we execute it here. We get 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 got printed because this is a collection of values. So this is a collection. So we could say call1 is a collection, which is a list. And then we could just say for I in call1, and then we could print it. So it helps us to go through or to iterate. So the right word to use there to iterate through this list. So you could also do the same thing for strings. So you could also, for example, have string str_1, and then we could say this is hello world. And then what we can also do is that we could also loop through that collection by doing this. So we could say for I in str2. So we could say str_1. So _1. And then we will also, it will also go through all the elements. You see hello world. So this is exactly what loops do. So we're going to look at, so generally, when you're working with loops, you have a collection in place, and then you want to move through that collection. You want to go through that collection. For it actually boils down from mathematics. Look at this expression here, where we have like, let me take this out. For every person, let's say in the village, for every person in the village, you know, maybe take your parcel. For every person in the village, let's say we have people in the village that we want to give parcels. So let's get the persons now. So let's say these are the persons that we want to give them their parcels. So for every person in the village, we want him to take his parcels. These are the persons in the village. So how do we do that? You see, for every persons now equals to Romaric, George, Raji, Tope, and Eric. So for every person in the village, take your parcel. And then these are the persons in the village. So 4 is like saying for every person in the village. So how do we now do that? So look at how we're going to do that. So we're just going to say for every person in the village. So for person in persons. So we are saying for person, or we can just say persons. Let me give it a nice name here. Persons in village. So for every persons in village, so we could change this one to persons in the village. For person in village. And then what we want to do now is just say, we want to print the person parcel taken. So we say the person's name and there's parcel taken. So when we execute this, now look at what we get. You see for every person in that village, you see George parcel taken, Raji parcel taken. So all of them took their parcels. So basically that's exactly what we are doing here. So we are saying for persons in village, so for every person in village, take your parcel. So you see they are not taking their parcels. So this is exactly what you can use for loop to achieve. So when you have a collection, be it a list, be it a string, and you want to go through all the elements in that collection, you use for. So the every here is being eliminated. So you saw for persons in village, and then you print all the elements in that collection. So you can perform some operations on, like here, I just added the F string here, and just so that this string here is going to have the person interpolated into it. So another thing that you could see is that even the range function could also be iterated through. So the range function, because the range, remember when we talk about types, range is also a sequence type. So you see here, we could say for n in range and of. So basically this means the start at 2, stop at 10. So it's going to print numbers from 2 all the way to 9, omitting 10. So this is exactly what this is going to do. So when we execute this, you see, we get 2 all the way to 9. So we could also loop through a range. This is also very handy. So based on what we've done so far, based on just talking about collection now. So what I want to do now is just give us a little problem for us to solve together. So, and that is, how do we sum these salaries? How do we provide a total of these salaries? So we have salaries here. Definitely we could print the salaries here by saying for salary in salaries, print salary, but this does not actually sum it. You see, it just goes ahead to print the 100 into 4 places because there are 4. So you see, we are going through all the salary by saying for salary in salaries, and we are printing the salary, but this does not sum it. So You see how handy the for loop can be? So in order for us to do this sum, we need to create a variable on top here that we need to use to collect the sum. So we're going to say total equals to 0. And then here, instead of printing the salary, we are now going to perform an operation on an individual salary, you see? And this is what we do. We say total plus equals salary. Or total equals to, let's not write the short form, total plus salary. That means that what is happening here is that at every iteration of this loop, at every turn of this loop, when it comes to 100, it's going to add 100 to this 0. And it's going to get 100 here. The next one, the total will be 100. So it will be 100 plus the next 100. And by so doing, it's going to compute the entire total. So let's execute this and see. Let me clear this part. And let's kind of like, so let's see clear and increase the size of our IDE a bit here. So I'm going to come here and just, and then we execute here. So look at what we get. We get 400 because the total number of salaries in this collection is 400 values. So, and we get 400. So you see how handy 4 can be, particularly when you want to iterate through a collection. So we were just going through the collection, but instead of printing like we did last time, we added the total and kept incrementing the total by adding the new total. So this is always a new total equals to the old total plus the salary. So you could look at this again more carefully to actually see what's going on here. But with this, we've come to the end of this section on loop.